Sister, if you are finding yourself putting in efforts to release weight, have more energy, better periods, better sleep, and not getting any results or worse, going backwards in perimenopause, this is the episode for you. In this episode, I will cover the 5 reasons why most efforts aren't getting results in perimenopause so you can have the exact steps you need to get back on track and get results for good.
What's up, sisters? Welcome to the Period Whisperer podcast. I'm Bria. I'm your host. If you're new, I'm so happy you are here. I'm your perimenopause and menopause sister, your holistic trainer, hormone specialist, translator of your female body. I'm a recovering people pleaser and hustle addict turned body whisperer and hormone decoder. And I am here to help you de-stress your body, decode what it is saying, become the CEO of it, and own your own health, energy, and weight loss again. This show is for you, the overwhelmed, overworked, underappreciated step woman who dreams of a body they feel strong, energetic, and sane in. The woman who knows that she shouldn't just wave the white aging flag and believes in a body and life of peace, love, and purpose. But you don't just know how to get there yet. So if you are stuck in your body, your energy, your life, you are in the right spot. Let's lean in and learn what our bodies are saying to us.
Hey, sister. How are you feeling in your body today? What's she been saying to you? Have you been checking in with her every single day? On this episode, I want to dive in with you, right here, you and me, sister. Why you might be putting in efforts and not getting results. In all the years that I have worked with women in their health and fitness, and more specifically with their hormones, I have learned over time and research and experience that there are 5 reasons why your efforts aren't yielding you results in perimenopause, right? And there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than feeling like you're doing all the things, or you're trying to do all the things, or you don't really know what you're doing and you just cannot seem to feel better. So I want to peel back that curtain, we'll call it, and dive in with you on these 5 reasons. So in this episode, you're going to learn about that. We're going to talk about how to overcome those. So, I have been there, whatever it is, and let's not waste any time today. Let's really dive in. Now, when most people or women think of feeling better, releasing weight, having more energy, we often think of the need to eat less and move more. I like to look at this time in our life and employ a strategy that is focused much more around healing first, because of the nature of perimenopause and the fact that if you are struggling with all of the things or any of the 34 symptoms of perimenopause, right? Inability to lose weight, excess belly fat, really heavy periods, or really intense PMS, anything from brain fog, energy issues, lots of insomnia, night sweats, hot flashes, all of these things. If you are struggling with these things, and low libido, let's bring that one into the mix for sure. Sometimes being really cold all the time, having heart palpitations even, anxiety, low mood, or extreme moods, all of these fall under that umbrella of perimenopause symptoms. And of course, there's more. Those are just some of the most common ones. Because of these, if you're struggling with them, you're likely dealing with inflammation and elevated levels of cortisol. And that's the reason for your extreme hormone imbalance. Because here's the thing. When we head into the transition from perimenopause to menopause, is really that transition of being fertile and reproductively capable to not. And our hormones can stay balanced throughout this, right? Because our main female sex hormones, estrogen and progesterone, and there's other things in there, of course, as well, but these are the ones that seem to cause the biggest issue. As we make this transition, inevitably, we're not going to be producing as much of either of these hormones, but they are symbiotic, which means if we are taking care of our body, if we're following a strategy that is designed for female hormonal health, then we're not going to see the same imbalance, right? It's that massive imbalance there that makes this feel so challenging, that causes us to suffer so greatly. So if we understand the strategy, if we employ this strategy that actually keeps us balanced while we move through this transition, the symptoms of perimenopause into menopause can be much more manageable in life. Listen, it's all still a challenge. Like if you have gone through puberty, which we all have, if you've been pregnant before, or which we might not all have, but at least you understand this shift of having this hormonal shift at all times, there are going to be things that crop up, but it should be much more manageable, like 90% of the time. And that has everything to do with our strategy of keeping the hormones balanced in the process. So if you are struggling with these things, you are dealing with inflammation and elevated levels of cortisol, and that's the reason for your hormone imbalance. And the hormone imbalance is the reason for the weight gain, the lack of energy, the brain fog, the insomnia, and the crazy heavy periods. So when we look at the strategy as a healing process first, the process looks less like do more, eat less, and more like reduce inflammation, optimize metabolism, sync with your hormones, right? Sync with that hormonal rhythm so that we can keep the hormones in balance during this transition. And really, we should have been taught this our whole lives, but we weren't. And now we're here, and knowing better means we get to do better. So I'm so excited that you're here for this. So look, here are the five reasons why you are employing methods to feel better and aren't getting results in perimenopause. Number one, you're not actually starting. A lot of us get really caught up in analysis paralysis, where we are consuming all of this content out, right? Maybe you're binging this podcast, maybe you're Googling things, you're seeing stuff on social media, and you're not actually picking the strategy and following through. And the other side of that is that you're picking a strategy that isn't designed for female hormones. So you're not even starting the strategy. So this is really one of the biggest reasons we run into, and that I see, is that you're not even starting. I used to fall into this all the time, where I would Google information and I would think, oh, this is what I can do, and this is what I can do, and but then there were so many things that it just started to get really overwhelming. And then we feel like we're doing things because we're thinking about them and thinking about them and thinking about them, but we're not actually executing that. It reminds me of when I wanted to start working out in my 20s, and I would think about working out and not get it done in the morning and think about it. And if you don't just get up and get it done, by the end of the day, it kind of feels like you've done it already over and over and over in your head, and it's hard to find the energy to do things. So we need to take that mental load off the plate and just start. Just put into action. Just lean into one of my programs and not whatever else is designed for you, and just start. Number two, the second reason you aren't getting results from your efforts, you don't have a plan to keep an eye on the data, like the actual, results that are happening, and you're too focused on like results on a scale over overall transformation. So we've been taught really so many times through social pressure and through culture to measure our results on a scale, when really, when you understand that the struggle in perimenopause is that we need to first heal and reduce inflammation and then optimize and then shift into fat burning by moving with our cycle, you can begin to recognize that the results we will see in a transformational situation are first going to be on, less bloating, more regular bowel movements, better sleeping through the night, better energy, better libido. These are the signs that we're heading in the right direction. These are the signs that our inflammation is reducing and that we're healing, that our metabolism is optimizing. If we focus only on the results on the scale, then we miss the data that is telling us we're on the right path. And the truth is that weight gain and weight release are the last symptoms to occur, right? They're the last result of what happens from the inside out. So for so many women, we get so stuck on looking at the just this result on the scale. They're not analyzing and tracking those green flags of what's putting us along the way and helping us get real results. And we miss the forest for the trees. Have you ever heard that saying? So we're actually getting results and we're giving up too quickly. Which brings me to number 3, the third reason, lack of patience. When you are struggling with a hormone imbalance, you're not in a place to release weight. Like the body's just it's not even on its radar. What it needs first is to heal, to optimize, like to reduce inflammation, to heal the issues that are in there, and then it can start to deal with fat burning. So we lose patience. We're looking for results in the first 2 or 3 weeks. And the truth is, if you get results in the first 2 or 3 weeks of following a strategy designed for female hormones, it is always a reduction of inflammation. We can actually see the change on the scale. We can feel our clothes getting better or looser on us. But that's just inflammation. And when you give up, you gain that right back. This is where that yo-yo concept has come in, where people do things and then they lose patience because we grossly overestimate what we can accomplish in a short period of time and significantly underestimate what we can accomplish in that compound effect over 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. Remember that healing takes time. And we need to make sure we are rested, that we are focused on the right strategies and looking for those right results when we finally start that program. Okay, number 4. We don't ask for help and we don't have a network to support our transformation. Look, transformation and change in life at any time is challenging, right? Our brain is constantly designed to conserve and keep us in what we know, even if it's not good for us. It's always pushing us back into that place. So it requires effort and energy and reinforcements to get there. And particularly if you're in a hetero relationship with kids, you don't have anyone around you in your closest inner circle that understands what you're going through. In fact, a lot of the times it's not even believed, right? We can't see perimenopause symptoms the same way as you can see the hormonal shifts in a pregnant woman or the hormonal shifts in our teenagers as they go through puberty. So finding a coach that helps you stay on track, like asking for help and investing in that, is a massive way to keep you on course. When we invest, we show up. Or finding a community, a network of women who get this, who are working on the same strategy with you so that you can encourage each other and remember that you are doing this for a bigger reason. So that's number 4. We don't ask for help. We don't have a network to support the transformation. And number 5 is lack of understanding of our mental triggers, knowing your self-sabotage cycle, in other words. So, I know for me, I went through this period of time where I wouldn't eat enough in the first half of the day. And at the end of the day, in the afternoon, I was always starving. I would overeat. I would binge on sugar. And it was just constant. This was constant rough cycle. And we cannot outthink those things. We have to actually nurture and nourish our body properly. So if you don't know what those triggers are, like maybe you're someone who every time you get stressed, you just can't help it. You need to drink or you need to eat something. We need to make sure we understand and preempt things, because once we get into that triggered state, if we're not prepared with a plan and awareness over the fact that this is a cycle that we need to break, it's really hard for us to get out of it when we're in that tough place, right? It's like we don't have a map, to plan what is going on here. So this is why, so many of us are putting these efforts in, these 5 different reasons are why you are out there putting effort in and not getting results. So let me recap them. You don't start. You don't have a plan to keep an eye on the data, and you're focused too much on the results on a scale and not your overall transformation. Like, how are you feeling in your body? This is why I ask you this all the time. There's a lack of patience or a lack of understanding of how long this actually takes. Number 4 is we don't ask for help and you don't have a network to support your transformation. And number 5, of course, is lack of mental triggers, knowing your self-sabotage cycle, right? So listen, do me a favor right now and look at your calendar and pick a date right now that you are going to commit to a strategy that is designed for female hormones. Pick it right now. Pause this if you have to. That you're not going to deviate from in the process. If you want help with that process, you can DM me or send me an email, a direct message to my email, briatheperiodwhisperer@gmail.com, and just email me green light or help. I will send you some questions that will help me create the first steps of an individualized hormone healing audit for you so that you have that piece of the puzzle to start when you are ready on that date. But don't wait. That's the biggest one that we all follow through on. Message me, message someone for help. Let me provide for you the strategy that you need to start with so that you actually do feel like. Focus on measuring the right results for yourself. Understand this is going to take a longer commitment than 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks even. And be supported by a network of women who are going through what you are going through. And let me help you understand where this self-sabotage cycle is coming in. This is where coaching really comes in, is that we can start to highlight and recognize when these things are happening. We can spot the behavior, stop the behavior, and swap the behavior. All right, sister, it's time for you to go out, pick your date, start feeling better, and be more in your life and not just less on a scale today. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Thank you so much for joining me on the Period Whisperer podcast. I want to encourage you to reach out to me directly and message me if there are topics or things you're struggling with so we can address those right where you are at. And of course, if you loved this episode, if you learned something, make sure to share it with your friends and please rate and review it wherever you get your podcasts.